Hi, welcome to KJ and Tony Love France. I'm KJ.
I'm Tony, and as you may know, in November of 2022, we moved to France, and we stayed there for about 3.5 months. Unfortunately, KJ got sick, and we came back, and we landed in Vero Beach, and we're in Vero Beach so that we can spend more time with KJ's parents. And we're still going to move to France ultimately, but we're going to go every 3 or 4 months for an extended stay. And then sometime in the future, we'll be moving there permanently.
And in today's video, we are featuring some more footage from our time that we spent in Nice back in, when was this? Because this wasn't our last trip. Our last trip was to Paris. And the trip before that was a lot of different places.
Yeah.
Nice being one of them. So when was that?
That was in March of 2024.
March of 2024. So we are sharing that footage with you. I call this particular video Eat, Play, and Savor. And I just like the whole play on Eat, Pray, Love because I love that and I love that movie. So eat, play, and savor. And speaking of savor and us going back and forth to France until we eventually wind up retiring there, which is the plan. Some people have said a couple of things. Some people have said to us, how do you do that? Like, how is it possible? It must be super expensive. And of course, we try to do it as economically as we possibly can. And we try to share that information with you, like how you can go about doing this, how you can do it based on a budget.
I can address that if you'd like.
Oh, sure. Be my guest.
Well, moving to France and going back and forth to France is a priority for us. Mm-hmm. I would say it's our number one priority. It affects our lifestyle now in that we don't live an extravagant lifestyle now because our plan is to continue to go back and forth. And so where we might not go out to eat as much as we used to, or we might not drive expensive cars like we used to.
We have one car now that we share. So that is a huge expense saved.
So in that way, it makes it easier for us to do it. But it really comes down to it being a priority. And if it's a priority, you find a way to do it.
Well, and I would just like to contradict the number one priority because truthfully, the number one priority is to be here for my parents. That's the number one priority.
Of course. But that goes without saying. I'm talking about the number one priority of our life outside of our normal day-to-day life.
Right.
Our number one priority is not to buy a new car. Our number one priority is not to plan a vacation in this country. Our number one priority is not to go to the movies every week or out to dinner 3 or 4 times a week. Our number one priority is to plan going back and forth to France.
And being even more certain of where we want to be. Because I think ultimately, even though we know that Paris is our first love, and we think that is going to be an ideal spot for us, we want to explore these other areas. And the way that we approached it before was 3 months here, 3 months there, going all over, trying to find the best place to ultimately land and retire. And this way, we're doing it in a much more methodical manner where we're spending a significant amount of time going back and forth.
And the truth is, we haven't been anywhere in France that I didn't love. I loved Nice. You know, as much as we think Paris is number one, Nice is very close behind. But I love Lyon too. Lyon was very nice.
Lyon was beautiful.
And Chamonix was very nice. I wouldn't want to live in Chamonix year-round, mostly because I don't want to go through the harsh winter. We were lucky we were there in February and it wasn't a harsh winter. Mm-hmm. But I haven't been anywhere in France I don't really like a lot. Mm-hmm. So I could land anywhere, but Paris is absolutely number one.
Yeah, hence KJ and Tony love France. So to wrap this up and get moving and get to the footage, just one more thing I'd like to highlight is this idea of savoring. Because how many days is it until we go back to France?
46.
We go to Paris in 46 days. So I have people say to me, don't film so much, like enjoy the moment, like thinking that I can't enjoy the moment if I'm filming all the time. And there's a certain amount of that is true, but there's something that I want to point out about savoring. And that is that filming, as much as I film and I love doing it, helps me to savor the moment, actually, because we have this footage that we can look back on and we can watch, and it helps us to be able to savor the positive and to savor the moment. And as a mental health counselor, both of us are mental health counselors, which you may not be aware, I've learned how important it is, specifically from a book by Dr. Rick Hansen called Rewiring Happiness, where we spend so much more time ruminating about the negative and we don't spend enough time savoring the positive. So this is my way, our way of savoring the positive, which hence is like the eat, play, savor.
And from a practical perspective, I think it's rare when we're filming that we haven't been to where we're filming at least once before already, because that's how we decided that this would be a good place to film. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I love to do in Paris is get lost. Just go out and not have a plan of where I'm going and get lost. We found bookstores that way. We found restaurants that way. We found historic sites that way. And that's how we come up with what we film.
So a couple of things that I'd like to ask you to help us out with. One being, since we are going back to Paris in 46 days, where would you like us to film? What are some locations that you would like to see? Give us your suggestions. We love suggestions. We've actually discovered new places based upon our subscribers' suggestions. Also, as you're watching this video, so this video, a part of it, we feature a place called Le Petit Café in Nice, which is adjacent to Le Grand Café. And so they're both connected to each other, I think owned by the same person or company. So this is the place where we found the piano player that we featured in our last video. And we had actually a couple of people reach out to us and say, where is this piano player in Nice that you featured in the video? Well, it's at the restaurant we're featuring in this video, although there's not that much of the restaurant that we're featuring. We'll probably film some more of that next time we're back in Nice, but it's called Le Petit Café. I'd like you to, in the video, we also, right after that segment, there's some more video footage of another place that's one of our favorite places. I forgot to mention, Le Petit Café is one of our favorite restaurants in Nice. And there's another place that we frequent that is also a part of the video footage. So I'd like you to take a guess as to where you think that is, if you're someone who has actually been to Nice and might be familiar with it. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. So we hope you enjoyed this week's video. I know it's been a bit since we posted a video. I think it's been a week, if not 2 weeks, but there's a good reason for that.
KJ and our youngest son Pierce traveled to Idaho to see our middle son Chase.
And it was beautiful. Idaho is gorgeous. Definitely a contrast from Florida. Although Florida is gorgeous in and of itself, but Florida is very flat and there's a lot of mountains out in Idaho. And talk about savoring. I absolutely was savoring every moment because it's been a while since we've seen our middle son. And I share a lot of that video footage that I took of our time together on the membership portion of our channel. So if you're someone who's interested in seeing more about our family life and videos of our life here in Vero Beach and some of the trips like going to Idaho that we take, then you may want to explore joining our membership, which you can do by clicking the button. There's the one either above, below, or both, and see if perhaps that might interest you. And we're very grateful for your being here today and joining us and supporting our channel. So thanks for being here, and we hope that you join us again next week.
A bientôt.
Au revoir.